This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
There he is, the man, the myth, the legend that is Cameron Wolfe. And what a day. No news going on, Dolphins. Yes. Fantastic. All right, before we get to Stephen Ross, who is Preston Williams' agent?
He has a Colorado-based agent for Wasserman's Group. Let me think of his name. He's based out of Colorado. He repped him since he left Colorado State. I've chatted with him before.
Is it Wasserman?
Yeah, it is Wasserman. He's with Wasserman.
Okay. Oh,
yes,
no, but is it?
No, it's not Wasserman.
No, it's not Wasserman.
No, he has a rep that's within the Wasserman Group that's not Wasserman.
Because I asked him today, I asked him today about this. I lost you there.
Yeah, CJ LeBoy. CJ LeBoy, I believe, is Preston Williams' agent. Yeah.
All right, so I asked him today. I said, Preston, they drafted a wide receiver. They signed two of them in free agency. They traded for one. Like, why did you think that this was the right place? And he said he liked competition. I gotta say he had no offers, and the Dolphins were the only one because the Dolphins didn't tender him, so that means they didn't want him back, really, in a way. And they built McDaniel built this team the way he wanted, and then I almost feel like they gave him a contract just because, it's training camp fodder, one more in there. And I have a hard time understanding that his agent was not smart enough to see the writing on the wall. So that tells me that he really had no offers and he had to kind of settle for the Dolphins. What do you think about?
So he accepted less than what his tender would have been, more than what the minimum contract would have been. So I think you're right in that it gives me the indication. I don't know this for sure, but it gives me the indication that he probably didn't have a lot of better offers more than the minimum. And so the Dolphins gave him an opportunity to make a little bit more, get an opportunity to compete. And maybe he didn't expect as much additions as they made in the receiving group this year. But, that's the reality of it. You add a Tyreek Hill to go with Jalen Waddle, with Cedric Wilson, then all of a sudden you're competing for number 2 team reps. Like, you're not going to get any first team reps. You're going to get number 2 team reps or number 3 team reps. And your job is to convince them that you deserve to be on the number 2 team at minimum and maybe some reps on the 1. So, yeah, I think that, to me, you gotta take advantage of what you're given, what opportunities you're given. Like, I'd love to be the main NFL Network person who's on TV all day, every day. I'm not there. I got to maximize my reps. They give me 7 minutes of TV. I got to make those the best 7 minutes of TV all show. I can't be sitting there. Why don't I get 17 minutes? Why don't I get 27 minutes like somebody else? You got to maximize your time. And so that's my issue with Preston kind of making a statement. I usually don't have problems with players expressing what they feel and if they got any issue with it. But for Preston, it just kind of feels like, you've been on bad teams for a while and you've become the starter mostly out of lack of depth. So now that they have depth, you have an issue with it. That's just not the way this league works. And so he's competing with a group of guys. You're competing with the Braylon Sanders. You're competing with the Lynn Bowden. You're competing with a Trent Sherfield. Like, he could make this team. He just has the mindset to do it, and this does not help. Like, whether McDaniel says it or not, you hear your receiver complaining about reps. Do you want that guy to be your number 5 receiver if he's complaining in training camp about reps? He's not going to get reps in the season. Your number 5 receiver doesn't get those reps. And so unless he's going to become their main returner, I think this is just a sign that this may be the end of Preston Williams in Miami.
Oh, yeah, there's no doubt about that. All right, let's get to the pressing news. I'm feeling good. I'm watching camp. Tua looks good. Austin Jackson had a good day. I'm like, wow. And then we get the news, 3/4 of the way through practice that the Dolphins are fined a first-round pick next year, a third-round pick the following year, and whatever the money for Stephen Ross, and Bruce Beal also suspended for the whole year. Your thoughts on this? Because for me, the part that bothers me about all of this is Flo wanted Watson, not Greer, not Allen, and not McKenzie. Beal and Ross are the ones that wanted Brady, not Greer, not Allen, not McKenzie. And so the people you hired to do their job, you're not allowing them to do their job. And you have everybody else trying to get in the way and create all this mess. You know what I mean? And I hate when they say, well, they're trying to replace Tua. Well, actually, the people that draft really didn't want to replace Tua. It's other people that wanted to replace Tua throughout this whole thing. And now listen, if you wanted Brady, let's call it like we see it here. You would have had to trade picks for Brady. Then you would have been caught for tampering like you have now. You would have had to give up more picks. And now that Brady's on your team, the tampering would have been official. So they would have suspended Brady and Don Yee. I know they didn't suspend them now because this is bad for the league to do that. Plus, Don Yee and Brady can act stupid and say, well, we were just going on that boat because it was a party. We had no idea that they were going to approach us for a contract. So they can act stupid and get away with it. So I understand what the league did here to circumvent the flow thing. They went after him this way. But in the end, if you really were going to get Brady, you would have had to give up a bunch of picks. And now you see you would have gotten busted for tampering and Brady would have been suspended. The other way with Watson, you would have given up a whole bunch of picks and then also a suspension. Nothing that this front office wanted to really do. And now this front office loses out on a first and a third, and they have done a marvelous job, I think, overall of drafting, keeping themselves flexible in the salary cap, and keeping themselves flexible draft-wise. And here you got your owner cock-blocking them. Thoughts?
Yeah, there's not really a way to put this positive. Like, regardless of how Stephen Ross and the Dolphins take it, the NFL called this one of the most egregious acts of tampering that they've seen. And you're not only tampering with the quarterback, you're tampering with the coach as well. And it's honestly just a lie from what the Dolphins have told us all offseason. Like, I sat there with Chris Greer at the combine as he told us, oh, we requested permission for the Saints for Sean Payton, and they denied us, and that was that. And that was the end.
Well, Chris is just covering his ass because he has to cover for them. Because this is not Chris Greer's problem. I don't believe any of those three guys have anything to do with all this buffoonery that's been going on. To be quite honest,
but I have issues with getting lied to, and so to me, that's an issue to me. And whether you're covering for Steve Ross or whatever it is, you're lying. And you sat in front of us and lied to us to our face. And the other element, like we talk about the Flores thing, I think one thing that's going to be a thing there because it's not over yet. They're still going through the legal case portion of that. This solves the NFL discipline portion of it. But it was interesting to me that the arbitrator essentially said that, hey, there were some things said about, draft picks being more important than winning. But he might have been joking. So how we all joke sometimes.
But with the problem with Stephen Ross is he has Harbaugh in his history, so he cannot be trusted, and he has no credibility when it comes to this. Unfortunately, you've earned this, Stephen Ross, because it's a constant thing. You've done this over and over. If I'm not going to believe a player who tells me, oh, he stopped drinking or stopped doing drugs or whatever, and we call it BS. Well, we have to do this. We have to treat them the same way too. So if you're a constant violator, this isn't something that is, oh, you just did it one time. No, you've done this already a couple of times. And by the way, thank the Lord he got into real estate, because if he wanted to be a criminal, he'd be a shitty criminal. Okay.
Yeah. And it sucks for Dolphins fans, because there was so much talk and optimism about this season and focus on football. I was actually remarking to somebody at practice, and maybe I jinxed it, but I'm like, man, it's weird to be here and all the focus is on football. All the focus is on, does Tyreek and Tua work out, and not is Tua, going to get replaced by Deshaun Watson, or if this is going to happen, or if that's going to happen. And then this happens.
15 minutes. Listen to me. 15 minutes before the news broke. I'm at the top row. I'm sitting up there with Travis Wingfield. And so he and I are going over, and obviously me being old, I go to him, dude, when they had Duper and Clayton, they had these two speed guys at the top, and they weren't just speed guys. They also had cutting ability too. And these two guys actually are better cutters, I believe, than both those guys, Duper and Clayton. As good as Duper and Clayton were, These guys can stop on a dime. And we were talking about how the free safety has to make a commitment on every down to one of those guys, to one side. He can't worry about Gesicki and Cedric. He can't worry so much about the middle of the field so much because he's got to worry about the two monsters on the outside. So we're talking X's and O's, and we're getting kind of, we're getting kind of excited playing the chess game and all that stuff. And then boom, here comes this. Because we're watching these guys on the field and we're watching Tyreek and Waddle fly all over the place. And it's impossible to find two corners that are going to stay with those kind of guys. Plus a safety has to worry about. Now we have to talk about this. And that's exactly what Joe Rose was there with me. So was Bo Kemper. And we were talking about this, that now we go away from football and we got to get back to talking about this kind of crap instead of talking about, wow, dude, this actually looks like a really good team on the field right now.
Right. I mean, and honestly, it's the owner's doing. It's not even like a lot of times you blame the media. Oh, well, the media makes this is not a media-driven story. This is something that a judge said actually happened. The Tom Brady meetings. You have Tom Brady meetings in 2019 and 2021. You have meetings with an agent about Brady and Sean Payton in 2021 and 2022. How does Mike McDaniel feel about that? Maybe he doesn't bother him, but he clearly wasn't your first choice if you're talking about Sean Payton out the wazoo and trying to pair him with Brady. So to me, it adds a lot of unnecessary elements there, but it's their own doing. And so, as everything involving this league, I'm glad when stuff gets uncovered that should be uncovered. But for Dolphins fans, it's not a good day. It's not a good day at all. And this is not going away. Like I said, I know I'm coming back to Miami tomorrow, and first thing they ask me is, can you come on tomorrow and talk about this Raw stuff? And so I'm going to spend all my day tomorrow. I was supposed to be going to Vegas. I had a trip to Vegas planned for a conference and some work stuff from Wednesday to Saturday. And so I got to delay it till Thursday.
Why not force them to sell?
Yeah.
As punishment? Why punish the front office and the players who are really going to pay the price for the first, and the fans for the first and the third rounder, because the owner is the owner. It's, whatever, bro. But why not force them both? And let me tell you something, Bruce Beal, who got a longer suspension because obviously his ties to Brady, this is not good for the future either, because we have the same goofball type owners. Both guys don't know what the hell they're doing, and they're willing to put their team at risk.
Yeah, it's so hard. So it's so hard to convince an owner to sell or force an owner to sell.
I know.
We even see it in Washington. Washington's had egregious, sexual misconduct allegations, and Dan Snyder, is somewhere on a yacht somewhere trying not to go to court. Whatever's going on there, and there hasn't been any chance that he's been forced to sell the team. And so, it's a old boys club, and if you force one owner to sell a team, then you could be next. And I think that's the mindset that a lot of the owners probably have, that we're that's last case resort for us. So
yeah, you got to be Marge Schott, right? It's got to be like this Donald Sterling type of racist. It's got to be something so hate-filled or whatever that, okay, yeah, we have to get rid of you. Like, we have no choice. You're terrible for business, period, overall. So yeah, once you can affect, in other words, you've got to be so bad that you affect their bottom line, basically.
Right.
Right.
And so
that's it. Yeah. And Marge Schott and Donald Sterling were basically going to affect their bottom line, because you were having a openly racist owner in your group. Yeah, that doesn't fly.
Right. And so for the Dolphins, obviously a first and third round pick, that hurts a lot. For Ross, $1.5 million, like, it's a slap on the wrist for him. Not being around the team till mid-October. He lives in New York. I'm not sure how often he was going to be around the team. Maybe 2 or 3 times. Maybe. Yeah. So, like, in the ideal of Ross punishment, I don't know that there's much significance in what he was given. The Dolphins, yes, the team, the draft picks, that's significant in that ilk. But I think the bigger punishment is on the brand of the Dolphins, the draft picks, than it is more on Ross, the guy who's actually the guy who did the allegations.
Yeah, I would say to Stephen Ross, disappear, my brother. Don't even show up here ever again. Just own the team and move away. Just leave us alone. Follow him on Twitter at Cameron Wolfe, catch his work there at the NFL Network. And you, sir, have a safe flight back. I will see you. I will see you later on in the week. I'll be out at practice on Friday and Saturday. So looking forward to it.
All right. Well, I will be out there tomorrow reporting on Ross, but I will be out there, and then I will be going to Vegas. But I'll chat with you Friday from Vegas. Just don't call me too early.
Oh, Vegas.
Just don't call me too early.
By the way, take a canoe because you might need it to go from hotel to hotel. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Like an inflatable canoe, okay?
Right.
All right? Just in case.
Yep.
All right? Be careful out there, my brother. Appreciate you.
All right. Sounds good. All right.
You got it. There you go. Cameron Wolfe and our KSDT CPA NFL and Miami Dolphins report.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.